The British approach to Fort Schuyler in the summer of 1777 was a tedious one. The Army's movements from Canada into the New York frontier was greatly slowed because of delays in resupplying and portaging. Additionally, efforts by the Continental Tryon Militia, led by Brigadier General Nicholas Herkimer, greatly slowed the force's approach by blocking Wood Creek with logs, making water travel extremely time-consuming. Upon arrival to the United Carry, St. Leger's men camped near the remains of Fort Newport, a former French and Indian War-era fort to the northwest of Fort Schuyler. On August 2nd, 4 bateaux, or riverboats, arrived to supply the Continental forces at Fort Schuyler. They were ambushed by British forces, however the supplies and accompanying soldiers were able to make it past the fort walls before the British descended. The following day, on August 3rd, the British forces surrounded the fort at the edge of the woods as a display of strength and intimidation. They outnumbered the Continental soldiers by roughly twice as many men. St. Leger's forces were composed of roughly 1,500 to 1,800 men, including 100 men from each the 8th and 34th Regiments, a company of Rangers under Walter Butler, 40 artillerymen, 342 Hessian Jagers or German infantrymen, the Royal Regiment of New York, also known as Sir John Johnson's Royal Greens, and a sufficient number of Canadians. Native American soldiers composed of half or more of these British forces. They included members of the Haudenosaunee, or Six Nations Confederacy, and many of them were from the Seneca and Mohawk nations. Continental soldiers at Fort Schuyler numbered around 750 men total. This included the 3rd New York and 9th Massachusetts, and at least 3 dozen artillerymen. The forces in Fort Schuyler were led by the 20-year-old Colonel Peter Gansevoort. Additionally, Oneida Nation members of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy took the rebelling American side of the Revolutionary War and acted as messengers and lookouts for the Continental's garrison at the fort. In the morning of August 3rd, the Continental flag was raised at Fort Schuyler, and cannons were shot at the British Army camps in celebration. British Captain Tice offered protection if the garrison surrendered, which was rejected with disdain. This is said to be the official beginning of the siege of Fort Schuyler. Continual firing of small arms, shelling, and cannon fire between the Continentals in the fort and the British forces in the surrounding woods continued on and off for the next 21 days. Find out what happens during the rest of the siege by watching the Next Stop video, or choose your own adventure first.